Starters, let's have some proper introductions. This is Mr. T, to those who know him. For everybody else, that's Mr. Tom. Anyway, he's going to help me introduce the video. So this is our third video in a three-part series on dealing with wild turkeys. The first video, we talked about the processing and bottling of wild turkey. In video number 2, we talked about making turkey stew. Now in video number 3, I'm going to walk you through the freeze drying process so that we can preserve this stew for our food storage. And I take a lot of freeze-dried food into the mountains when I go hunting in the fall and in the spring and in the summer and in the winter and all the other times when my wife says I hunt too much. Anyway, let's get into it. I'll show you how we're going to do it. So in part 2, you probably wondered why I made such a large batch of stew. My freeze dryer is a medium freeze dryer, and I've got 4 trays I need to fill, and I can get 6 cups per tray. So I needed 24 cups of stew to make a full batch. All right, let's start the process. We want to stir this up because some of the stuff is settled in the bottom. So I'm just going to get a cup full and I'll pour it in there. All right, got my trays all full. I'm going to stack them up on top of each other so they don't take up as much room in my freezer. There we go, got them all stacked up. I'm just going to put a piece of saran wrap over the top of them and take them out to the freezer. Here's the freeze dryer. We're going to start this thing up here this morning. Getting ready to do the freeze-dried batch of our turkey stew. Okay, one of the first things we want to do before we put these into the freeze dryer is we're going to weigh them. That one's 23.88. That way we'll know what the complete weight is before they go into the freeze dryer. When they come out of the freeze dryer, we'll weigh them again, and the difference will be how much water we need to add. Well, here we go. Looks like the freeze dryer is complete. All right, they're out of the freeze dryer, so the first thing we're going to want to do is weigh them, see how much water we've lost. This one is 1109. All right, here's how it turned out. We had 94.84 total weight in grams. After the freeze drying process, it was reduced down to 44.91. The difference between that is 49.93. We're going to divide that by 16 because we turned it into 16 meals. So that's 312 grams of water, and that's basically 1 1/3 cups of water. So each meal will get 1 1/3 cups of water to be rehydrated. I can just tell by feeling this from freeze drying that I can tell it's done. It's super light, super dry. When I look in there, there's no moisture. All right, we got our batch all freeze dried here. There's a few things we're gonna need to process it from here on out. Of course, we have our oxygen absorbers, a plastic bag, which I'll show you what I do with that. I have a spatula for cutting them into proportions. I got a little meat tenderizer hammer here, just a small one that I'm gonna use to break things up. I'll show you. Of course, my Mylar bags. I've got my big funnel that I'm going to use, and then ultimately we have the heat sealer, which will put the final seal on them. Okay, so I like to make my proportions 1.5 cups, and if you remember, there's a cup in each one of these. So I'm just going to take my spatula here and I'm going to cut it in half and turn this into 4 servings. So here's how I do mine. I will put one of these in the bag, turn it over, and I just give it a few light taps. It doesn't pulverize everything, it just makes it, breaks it down into smaller pieces. What that does for me is it packages better, and I like that it also reconstitutes better. Okay, I've got them all packaged up. It's time to put the oxygen absorbers in them now. It's a 300 cc oxygen absorber, go in each packet. Okay, the way I'm going to seal these up is make sure my oxygen absorber is out of the way, give it a quick little shake, close the resealable top, put it in, and seal it. So I've got a Brother brand label maker that I print the labels out. So it says wild turkey stew, 1 1/3 cups water, 2:25:23. The reason I put these labels on is I've discovered if you write it on in Sharpie, which is what almost everybody does, and you put those in a backpack or a container and haul them into the mountains, by the time you get there, the Sharpies all wore off, and you don't know what you're going to have for dinner. You might have breakfast for dinner, you might have breakfast for lunch, you might have dessert for breakfast, who knows. Okay, once I've done a batch, I always like to give it a test, make sure I got my water amounts right. But I'm just going to open this up. Take my oxygen absorber out. Add in 1.3 cups of boiling water. Zip it shut. Give it a little bit of a shake. We're going to wait about 4 minutes and give it another shake. Wait 4 more minutes, and then we're going to give it a test. All right, the time has come to check out our creation. Oh man, look at that. Whoa, baby, that's what I'm talking about. Oh yeah. Man, that looks pretty good. I'll give you a close-up. You zoom right in on that, and look at those carrots and peas and corn and potatoes and turkey. Just that luscious gravy. I wish I could get you the smell through the video because it smells heavenly. All right, it's pretty hot. But man, I just can't wait. That's delicious. You would not know that that wasn't just freshly cooked. Hope this video's been helpful for you. If you've liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Go down there and find that like thumbs up button on your menu. Subscribe. There's a little subscribe button in the corner of this video. Push that button and subscribe. If you want notifications on future videos, smash that bell and share this with your friends. Folks, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.